You see, for the most part, I do appreciate a OEM design and the look, but it's kind of annoying and outdated. For example, this screen. It's okay, but it's missing so many good features, like a CarPlay or Android Auto. So today we're installing an aftermarket module that adds Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to this 2009 BMW E93. And the coolest part is you don't have to remove or replace the factory audio system at all. It integrates directly into the stock setup, so it looks and feels as original as possible. As a side note, before the final installation, make sure to do a quick test setup to confirm everything is working properly. Once that's done, you can proceed with the actual installation. The installation process is extremely simple. We need our box, then we're gonna need our whole bunch of cables that is gonna be directly connected to the box, like Wi-Fi, aux, I don't know, USB, and etc. But really you need to worry about these two cables, LVDS, which is gonna tap into the video feed from your screen, or the head unit, and the power cable. The power cable is pretty long. There's a reason for it, because we wanted to tap into the iDrive, then run the cable underneath, connect the LVDS cable to the box, and hide the box probably under the glove box or something like that. On the other hand, there are a few loose wires. For example, like these two for the reversing camera, and these three main ones that you're gonna need to tap in regardless of what you're trying to do, install the backup camera or not. So we have accessory, out, B+, as well as the ground. Ground is self-explanatory, and it's just gonna tap in on the common ground point. B+ is our constant 12-volt feed, and then accessory power. This power is available only when you put your key in the ignition and then press start. So something light up, and I'll show you which fuse is that and how you can find one. Quick disclaimer, this video was made in collaboration with Car ABC. They sent me this unit free of charge, but this is not a paid review, and I'm free to say whatever I want in this installation and review guide. If you're interested, you can use the discount code SMG15. It's on a screen and a link in the description below, which gets you 15% off on their website. CarPlay offer CAN bus module like the one we're installing today on this BMW, as well as complete screen system running Linux or Android. They support wide range of brands and models, and most of their products are plug and play. You'll find the link with more details in the description below. Just to be clear, I wasn't required to do a sales pitch, but I generally like this unit and think it deserves some exposure. Let's get to installation. So ideally, if you disconnect the battery, in that case, you're not gonna, shorten something and blew the fuse. In a glove box, there is gonna be a little door with the twist knobs, and it generally holds an envelope. And this envelope will have all the fuses and reference to what this fuse does. For ACC, I'm using fuse number 7. For your application, it might differ since different cars have different equipment, but you can easily identify which fuse is accessory power with the multimeter. Simply set the multimeter to voltage, tap black electrode to the negative terminal, and positive electrode onto the fuse leg. Each fuse have a little metal dot on the top, so you can easily tap it and find out the reading. And if I'm gonna pop the key and pop the ignition on, now we have a battery voltage, and that's it. The other fuse we're going to be using is number 3, which is the third from the top left corner. Apparently that one is not populated, and I prepared the 5M fuse because that slot is basically constant 12 volt. So there are definitely a special fuses that are going to get you a link in the description below that you can kind of safely tap the wire into it. But for the moment, I'm just going to wrap the wire around the feeds, which is definitely not a best way to do things. So for our ground, we're gonna use this nut right here. Okay. And this is our ground. So now we have a under glove box surface. Now we can slide that down. We have our light. Disconnect that and remove the cover. With that, we can drop our wires down. So the other part that I really like about this unit is that you technically don't need to disassemble all that stuff if you're willing to struggle a little. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second. T10. After you remove the screws, flip the top to the bottom and pull out a unit. Now you can see a LVDS, purple wire. Be gentle with it. Then we have a 2 tabs on the sides, and we can remove those. Unhook the rest of the wiring and remove the screen. So the next part, what I like to do is actually remove the knob. It's gonna be a bit easier to deal with. Now we wanna pop this cover. So we're gonna undo that blue wire first, which is always a challenge. Now you can take a plastic tool and slide it in the panel right here. Being extremely careful because I don't want to damage the wrap. And at this point, you can yank it up. The reason I use the handbrake, because we wanted to shift a car into a neutral, and basically now we can remove that whole panel with no problems. Now we have a few wires. One, it goes to the iDrive, and the other one is, in my case, it goes to the roof. Then pretty much every E90 would have a cigarette lighter connector, which you can also unplug and remove the panel completely. At this point, we can fish our aux cable. I choose to remove this piece of plastic. We have a really clean way of just installing the wire. It's not gonna be on the way. And with that, we're gonna fish the wire out, the LVDS. And for that, we're gonna need to remove our wood trim. So this is relatively simple. Then we can push the central knob button out. Okay. And then the other part is the bottom. And so if I'm gonna flash my flashlight right here, you can see a little opening. Okay. So I got the cable underneath, which is perfecto. This wire up. I need to connect that one end into the other. Click. We can now get our screen and install all the wires back in. Okay, perfect. Pop the screws loosely. In here I was able to install a secondary microphone onto the secondary spot near the original BMW one. You don't have to go this far, you can just leave the microphone somewhere near the column, but I decided to do it this way. Next step is the antenna, and it seems like right under the screen and above the vent is going to be perfect spot. Okay, fishing the wire again. Okay, the Wi-Fi antenna is hidden and nicely tacked in. The last component is going to be the power cable that will also ends up somewhere underneath. This should just work just like that. So this is our iDrive connector, which goes into our splitter. Okay, install the trim. Then we connect the button. So B+. Nice. Then accessory power, ACC. Soldered connection is definitely preferred, but my soldering gun is just take a big crap on me, so I think those are good. Switches goes according to diagram. On the CIC setup, switch 1 to number 3 generally is off. If something is not working, set switch number 3 to on. There are two different resolutions for the screen. One is no navigation, which is 800 by 480, and with navigation is going to be 1280 by 480. If something isn't working, just try all of those combinations. The last one, prioritize the CarPlay over the stock screen. Wi-Fi, LVDS, USB. So microphone going to be connected to the separate feed, the same one as the USB aux cable. And we have a green light right here. Okay. Okay, so our iDrive is working. I can scroll through the menu, aux, that's pretty much what we need. So to switch systems, we need to press back, and number 4 is long press switch to system. So we basically need to press back button and hold it. And just like that, magic, it works. Insane. The coolest thing that you can use your trigger, everything just as in normal setup. This is really good. We're gonna go for the wireless CarPlay settings. We're gonna go CarPlay, online devices, disconnect, wireless CarPlay, connect, paired devices. We need to go into our phone and find the device. Connect. And voila! This is crazy. Play music.
Okay, here's a station just for you on Apple Music.
Dang, this is pretty badass. It's like, despite its 15 years old screen, it still actually looks reasonably good, like reasonably really good. So, and the responsiveness is just there. Everything works. Navigation, maps, Google Maps. This is totally acceptable. Like every single piece just there. It's like I can, yeah, music and etc. And there you have it. This is pretty epic. Like I can switch between like original multimedia, and then I can go straight into my CarPlay and listen music, do pretty much anything that I need on my phone, have maps, everything up to date. And then if I'm not mistaken, we can press menu and go into the hidden menus. So to check more of the settings. The other cool thing is the equalizer EQ. In this particular car, original amplifier doesn't really have any settings for the EQ, which is pretty huge, I would say, because this allows us to tune a little bit better. The audio is definitely not as, for example, it's going to be like higher end audio in this car, but it still gives you more control over certain things. This is genius. Why would I replace a stock audio or specifically the screen and disturb the look of the car where I can just tap in onto the video feed and kind of push whatever I need into it. So this is quite tough to get it in right there, the box. And as you can see, I tacked in the cables also pretty much everywhere I could. The important bit is this piece right here. So everything should be above this guy. Same as under BCM, there's a little latch. Slider. Let's install the backup camera and conclude the video. We got two T20. As far as I remember, the slides toward the side and down. Okay, now we take our cable, fish it inside. Just gotta make sure it kind of clicks in. One more time. That's good. Yeah, so it's pretty tight fit overall. And this is our voltage. Red and brown, this is gonna be our positive and negative. And the camera power will go black to the brown and red to red, which is we're gonna tap into this connector, which is the power is gonna be there. But the signal will go back to our light. Wrap around there. And voila, our power cable is now have power, or presumably will have. Once we connect it back, all set. the car now in reverse. The one before the last one is actually our reverse light, which is the black and purple. Okay. Oh, that was fast. Let's see. That's actually really decent quality. And that's pretty much it. And I think this is a great upgrade for an older BMW. You get a CarPlay while keeping the factory look and all the stock system, which is a big win, especially when we think we need to diagnose the car in the future for some mysterious problems, which is awkwardly, they happen a lot to those cars. Also for software update. So I've been running this unit for about a week now, and all I can say is everything worked perfectly nice. Phone calls, music, navigation, Google Maps or Apple Maps, you name it. Everything just ticking. On the other hand, there are a few minor complaints. For example, like these 3 wires that we had to tap into the fuse box. Company could have provided us the cable that just directly plug and play. But then the price wouldn't be as appealing as right now, which is like $200. Now we are testing the audio that is connected directly to the aftermarket box. As you heard, the audio is not great, but it's not horrible. It's more than enough to use Siri. Yeah, so she can hear me. On the other hand, talking to somebody is just introduce a lot of noise, especially when while you're driving. But for something like this, Siri can definitely hear you. The other downside is basically when the phone is connected and you power down the car, phone stays connected to the car for around 10 to 20 seconds after the shutdown. So this could be like 2 things. First, it's a car itself. It's not completely cutting the audio right away. And as you can see, the button's still lit. So presumably, that's probably more toward the BMW than the box itself. And the last one is controls. Everything worked just fine, and I did get used to it. So it's not like a complaint, but it still was kind of weird to having a left and right joystick movement as a song change, which is, in my opinion, it would be nicer if we would continue using it as a joystick. And instead, the system used it as a next track or previous track. Again, it took me like 1 day probably to get used to it, so I'm not using the left and right movement. In my opinion, neither of those are deal breakers. And again, I did spend a few days of just getting used to the way everything works. And after that, it just automatic. I'm just not doing anything pretty much. I know how to deal with every single thing. On top of that, you still can use your original microphone that is installed in the car, and most of the BMWs of this generation has a Bluetooth or hand-free audio anyway. But again, it's also not that great. So I'm still using mainly my earpods, and that's pretty much it. Overall, for around $200, this is a solid upgrade that adds moderate CarPlay while keeping everything factory. Easy install, great integration, and definitely worth it. And that's basically it. I think it was a great addition to this car with already is kind of really nice base, if we can say that, because this car had a lot of problems when I bought it, and I overpaid for it. Check out this video right here, as well as make sure to subscribe, because episode 1 out of 5 on this car is coming soon. And I'm just restoring it, going all in, and trying to keep that budget under $1,000 with so many problems. And it's like, it's kind of awkward that I bought it for $6,000. But yeah, check out this video and subscribe, like, share. I'll see you in the next one.